All right. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Bobby Jo Chavarria. I am the chair of the San Gorgonio chapter of the Sierra Club, as well as the president of the Fontana Democratic Club. And I am a longtime community member. We bought our house in 1993 when we were in our 20s, when Fontana was still an affordable place to live for young families. And why we are gathering here today is because yet again, the City Council, Fontana City Council, led by Mayor Warehouse Warren, Mayor Warehouse, has yet again tried to sneak in projects that the community, if they knew about them, would be absolutely opposed to. The first project that we're going to talk about is our Southridge Wildlands, where the city has already given 10 acres of our land in exchange for a really broken up and poorly planned trail system with no actual amenities, and up on the steepest part of the hills after they spend some time blasting it. The second project is yet another warehouse project, rezoning residential land into light industrial right next to Harupa Hills High School. And the third and final project that is probably most insulting is the downtown area, which has been neglected since Mayor Warehouse's entire tenure on the council has been completely neglected. And now that she's got her eyes on it, she is looking to do exactly what she did in Southridge. She is looking to bully and intimidate property owners, small businesses, to vacate the area and clear out this land for her developer friends to come in, gentrify, and displace this entire community. She has no sense of place and history. She would rather knock everything down, as they have done in Southridge, and rebuild new, making it increasing the land prices and making it unaffordable for families to stay here or small businesses to invest here. What she's asking corporations and developer friends to do is come in, take over our community, take all of our community resources, and then take their profits somewhere else. We believe that there's a better way to do that, and so we're going to be talking about that today. We have community members from our South Fontana Concerned Citizens Coalition. We have members from our Sierra Club, and we have just community members in general who heard about the news that something was happening in Fontana and knew that most likely the plans weren't going to fit for the people. So as we mentioned in our press release, the proposed general plan amendment and the 3 projects proposed, including 3 more warehouses next to Harupa Hills High School, is the latest direct threat to the health and safety of our community, and yet another violation of the community's trust in the commitment the city and mayor has made to the residents when the general plan that was 10 years late was approved in 2017. We are standing together to make sure that our voices are heard and our concerns are addressed before any decisions are made. But I have a challenge, y'all, because I'm finding myself to be like a prediction of the future. We already know what the city council's vote is going to be. It's going to be 4-1 in favor of everything, without even taking yet another public hearing to respond to what we expect, hundreds and hundreds of public comments. We already have collected over 180 public comments that we will be printing and giving to the city and the planning commission. But we know by the end of the night they will have voted, and the city and the community will be silent. We have met community members who live directly near this project at the Southridge, adjacent to the Southridge Park and the Southridge Wildlands. And if you take a look here, this is the general plan for the city. There are 2 areas that are designated open space areas. This here down in the south and this great big giant space, Fontana Park in the north. This project seeks to cut the community off completely from the only wild space that we have connecting ourselves into the Jurupa Hills. We say that that is unacceptable. As do the homeowners who purchased their home under the with the understanding that they had a 90-year covenant that no development would be done in those hills. And now the project that the city is going to be pushing on the community is going to be a 2-year construction project while they're exploding, having a blast area that is rather large, and we have that here. This is the blasting area, and this is the rock crushing activity that they will be doing on the mountainside, right next to all of the homes, right next to the park, and right next to the local school. We do not know when this will start, if the city is allowed to move forward, but we have a feeling that now that the city has approved this project and all of their plans and accepted their environmental impact report, which is merely an addendum to a 35-year-old 1989.
33.
44-year-old environmental impact report.
34.
So a new study has not been completely done on this area after we have built out the entire rest of Southridge community, phases 2 and 3. Nor have we acknowledged the fact that we have had decades of drought that the city already acknowledges is a fire hazard, but they're still going to put homes there without any additional study. So we've been sharing this information with folks, and they have absolutely been frustrated knowing that and not knowing if what they were hearing or understanding was actually true, because they've got near zero communication from the city. We haven't had any public scoping meetings. We haven't had any discussions at all on any of this project that seeks to just really destroy the entire Southridge community, original community. So we do have a homeowner here. Would you be willing to speak and share your story?
Just briefly. My name is Esther. I live in the community for 26 years. And I received a letter last month. I read it closely. I came to the meeting and I met Liz and Bobby Joe, and I learned about the project. I wasn't aware. I was still expecting the dog park. And I was saddened because I lived in that community for many years. And I know that a lot of young people, we love that space. It's the last of the lungs we have, and we would like to preserve it. And like she mentioned, I feel that the leaders are not being very transparent, and we would like more involvement of the community, or more clarity from them to include us, so that we can have a voice, so we can be represented, because I don't feel that that's in the best interest of our community.
Thank you, Esther.
Thank you.
And so that's the Southridge project, just what feels like the most egregious project, but it just gets worse, because next to the local high school, Jurupa Hills High School, where the Sierra Club with South Fontana Concerned Citizens Coalition sued the developer and the city for the other projects that they were putting next to the Jurupa Hills High School, we did win some mitigation measures. And those mean like some larger setbacks, better plant plan, electrification ready, solar ready roof panels, but we could not stop the project. This is the last bit of residential land next to Jurupa High School that has already seen declining attendance and declining enrollment. because of all of the housing and residential property that has been rezoned, we feel and we fear that the city will seek to actually close down Harupa High School, the newest and most advanced technologically school in the district, because the enrollment will be so low. Not to mention the fact that it will be completely surrounded by warehouses. And who knows how much more dangerous it will be for students. During the last few weeks of meetings, we heard from someone, a community member who works at Harupa Hills High School, and she has mentioned that one day she was on a minimum day, was attempting to get into school to report to duty at 1 o'clock, and it took her 45 minutes off of Citrus to get into the school so she could park and get her job. That is what parents, that is what students are going through, as well as being faced of being on the same streets as diesel trucks with full loads and trailers. 3 out of the 5 weeks that we have been meeting in Southridge, there has been a truck accident in the Southridge community with an overturned trailer 3 times on that very same day, on the Thursdays that we met. It would be interesting if the city could explain how many accidents and could account for how many accidents are happening that are delaying, are not only congesting and delaying our commutes and our travel through the city, but also endangering people. How many deaths have there been on the backs of this city council and mayor by putting these projects right next to homes and schools? And so, how many of you are frustrated with that idea, even just from the beginning? Liz Senna has been working on the warehouse projects for the last 3 years. During COVID, she organized many community members to participate in city council meetings for the first time ever. And because the city was making accessibility, was having to make accessibility choices available during COVID, folks were able to call in and make their public comments. The second, literally the second that the city could stop that, they did, because they did not want to hear from the community and the 70 and 80 voices that would call each meeting to protest all of the warehouses that have gone up. And still, we knew what the vote was then, as the vote is still now, 4-1. They ignored the community voices, but at least now, without the call-in option, they didn't even have to hear them. So, Liz, will you come and share your story about what you've been doing and how this has affected your life and your family?
And a Concerned Citizens Coalition, and like Bobby Joe said, since during COVID, our community had the opportunity to talk about the issues that we have been seeing in our area, and one of them being the warehouses. Now, at the beginning, it was fine, a couple of dozen warehouses, but now it's become overbearing with the amount of warehouses that have been built in our area and the lack of amenities. When we have to go shopping or dine or eat or whatever, it's not in our area. We have to drive to other areas like Eastvale and Rancho. And so for some time, I remember just trying to get the word out, and it's always very disheartening to find out that little to none of the community is, aware of the issues that are happening. And a lot of this, I believe, is done intentional so that there is no opposition to the projects that are coming before you and before the city. And so here we are again. And like Esther said, some of the community in Southridge still believes that there is a dog park coming, and there's no dog park coming to that area. In fact, there is a proposed development for 255 condominiums. And I want to make something very, very clear. We are not against housing. We never have been, and we never will be. Housing is an essential need for everyone. However, when you take into consideration the first project being discussed today, which is 580,000 square feet or 30 acres of residential land right next to, not across the street, but right next to the Harupa Hills High School, for the purposes of development, it really makes you wonder why the city didn't just say we should leave this as residential zoning and residential land and build more housing. More housing that would provide easier access to the high school for students who live there. And so then you think, okay, the city is making a general plan amendment to a general plan that they just that they essentially approved in 2017, which was not that long ago, and now they're on their third general plan amendment of the year. Not only that, but the city is very sneaky in the way that they're actually approving this amendment, because the warehouses next to the high school is one amendment. The parkland issue is a second amendment, and the business downtown revitalization is a third amendment. But they got very creative in the way that they coupled them all three together with only one vote. So when the city, even if community were to come out tomorrow, which we are definitely encouraging all of the community to come out and provide a public comment, unfortunately, your public comment is going to be narrowed down to 3 minutes. And if you wanted to talk on all three topics, you would only get to talk 1 minute per topic. And so this is done very intentional in a way to minimize the public voice. And so we in the community we're tired. We're tired of the warehouses, and we're tired of the lack of representation that is displayed in the city council. I myself have been on many trips to the state to try to get the state involved. And as Bobby Joe mentioned earlier, last year, the California Attorney General, Rob Bonta, stepped in, filed a lawsuit against the city, and we ended up just having to settle. And it was very unfortunate. But I will tell you this, that the most that we have been able to essentially do for ourselves is, in fact, when our community unites, when we have conversations, when we come together, and we stand up and we fight back. So that's why I'm encouraging every single person to take action, whether it's coming here tomorrow, Tuesday, July 25th at 7 p.m. in person, or whether it's submitting your public comment by email. Please take action. We are running out of very few options, but it's still possible. I know that we, as a community, when we come together, our voices are amplified and our concerns speak the loudest. So thank you for your time and listening to me, and I will give it right back to Bobby Joe.
So thank you, Liz. Thank you, Esther, for sharing your story. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is not what we should be doing in a democracy. While we have to participate, of course, but we should not be spending nights and weekends because we cannot count on our elected officials to do the right thing for our community. We should not be the ones out there informing our neighbors of the things that are going to impact their lives right now without any discussion with the city. The only discussion that many of our businesses and residents have had with the city was when they were being harassed to give up their land to make room for the city to purchase the land and then turn around and sell it to their developer friends. That is what they have already done and have admitted in the in their recent vote on a project for the downtown. What they seek to do now, and I don't know if you all know really what a general plan is, and I'm just going to take a minute to talk about it. A general plan is required by the state as a commitment, a legal promise to the community that this is what we are going to do in the city. Fontana had not had one since 2002, and then it took them 3 years, 2015, 16, and 17, to approve the general plan that supposedly encompasses the years 2015 to 2035. The day that they approved it in November of 2017, they made 2 general plan amendments that same night. They do not know how to keep their promises to the community, and so we cannot count on what they say here. And the downtown is a perfect example. They want to make a walkable, commercial, cultural draw of the community. Their first project of our new walkable downtown is a $12 million parking structure. Instead of making transportation easier, public transportation, widening roads for bicycle travel, instead of doing that, they are making the walkable community, you have to drive here to get into the walkable community. That is poor land use, and it is poor city planning, and it really is a lack of vision that this council and mayor have demonstrated over and over and over again, because they don't live here in the way that we do with children and young students and young people. They have not walked Sierra Avenue and talked to community members who are here. They have not walked the Pacific Trail plan, the Pacific Trail walkway themselves, and realize that you can walk for miles and never hit a restroom. That doesn't work. That doesn't work for a community with children, with young people. And so that is what they're trying to do now, is expand the overlay. And on the same agenda, outside of the public hearing, on the same agenda, they're going to be passing an urgency ordinance that no building permits or business licenses or occupancy permits can be done in the downtown, so that they can, again, push out the small business owners and the local property owners, and make their businesses harder for the next few years while they do what they did in Southridge. Plot by plot, parcel by parcel, force people out, basically blight our downtown, and then rebuild it with a whole new, with out-of-town developer money and a whole new community that will displace the folks who have been here for generations. That's the downtown project. That's the downtown overlay, that with zero discussion to the local business owners, except to go and threaten them that they must leave, that they must vacate their premises, zero discussion with the local business owners. And they're going to put this restriction and expand the reach of the local city government to do what they want. Finally, as Liz talked about, the high school, that project, that is made for housing. It was planned, it was promised for housing. Multiple areas, these warehouse projects were planned for housing, and they expanded the Southwest Industrial Project time and time and time again, and just mowed through our community. What that means is their rationale is this last project next to the high school, it's totally in line with what we've already done, because we've already done it. And that sort of circular reasoning is what has put our community in danger, and at a time when the whole world is recognizing that we have to cut greenhouse gas emissions, we have to cut carbon emissions and our carbon footprint. We're doubling down on a dying industry of diesel trucks and logistics that is looking at automation, and their whole talking point is that it provides jobs. I am against housing when it is unaffordable. I am against a bougie project called the Heights at Southridge on wildlands, and they're touting it with these new homes, new condos will have their own private park, they will have their own community trails, they will have their own community clubhouse and pool, and 600 parking spaces, and they will shut off that mountain from the rest of us. I am against that project anywhere in the city. We estimate that those condos will sell for $600,000, $700,000, which means that that developer stands to profit probably over $100 million. I don't know any young family that has a job here in Fontana that could afford a $600,000 condo, homeowners association fees, mortgage payment, and also take the risk that no insurance company would actually give them homeowners insurance because they're in a fire zone. This city has been reckless with our lives and with our community for far too long. Sierra Club, CCAEJ, the Center for Community Action and Environmental Justice, along with volunteer community members like the South Fontana Concerned Citizens Coalition, we published a report in January called The Region in Crisis. We have forwarded it to the City Council, letting them know that our air quality, today included, is hazardous to people at risk, and it doesn't take much to be at risk. I wanted to print out a picture and I forgot, but of a post of my son's bloody, it was a receiving blanket from when he was a baby, and he has nosebleeds every week, and we use those to help control it. We're fortunate that he doesn't have asthma, as a majority of children in this community do. The city is doing it all wrong, and we want to fight back. Like Liz says, we invite the community to come out to the City Council meeting tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, be here at 6:30. We're going to work on getting translation for our Spanish-speaking community. The city does not provide it. And we will also work on demonstrating the power of community when we come together. This isn't a done deal. This is not a done deal. We can fight back, and we will fight back with your help. Please visit fontanaforward.org for access, for information about the warehouse, about the downtown, about the wildlands, and you sign our petition. If you sign our petition by tomorrow morning at 8, we'll be able to include your written comments in the public hearing and give that to the City Council. I would love for them to have 500 comments that they have to read through and know that they've betrayed their community with their vote when they side with Aquanetta Warren. It's time for her to go. It's time for this community to stand up, and we can do it together. I don't have a real powerful close except to say, I don't want to give up on my community. I have lived here. We bought our house in 1993. I graduated from Fontana High School in 1989. That's where I met my husband. We have built a home here, and we have right now raising our family here. And I sort of feel like I'm at the point, as many of the community members shared, if this project were to go through, it just changes what they bought, what they plan for their future. You know, they say if you don't love it, leave it. I love it enough to fight for it. And I hope community members will join with us, with me and Liz and Esther and Teresa and Ken and all of the folks who've been coming out week after week and going around and turning around and talking to their neighbors. Tomorrow night, Tuesday, 7 o'clock, 8353 Sierra Avenue. We need you here. We need your voices. And expect a long night because they've put the public hearing close to the end of the agenda, and alongside some really other horrible votes. You can take a look at the agenda yourself at fontana.org. Click on government, click on agendas and minutes, and you can see this city's mayor is about to renew a contract with her church, where she unethically, if not illegally, campaigns from the altar at her church, and then funnels many of our housing assistance and food assistance projects to that church. But right now we've got to fight this so that they can't change it without a fight, and they can't destroy what we have here in Fontana. Of course we want it to be better, but there's better ways to do it. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight, and for the NPR for sharing our story, and that's how a couple of community members came out. I want to thank South Fontana Concerned Citizens Coalition for working so hard these last 3-4 years and regrouping after COVID, and when it wasn't as easy for community to participate. And thank you to the Center for Community Action and Environmental Justice, the director Ana Gonzalez, for organizer Joaquin Castellanos, and so many others who have put a lot of sweat equity into our community to help us. Thank you all so much. Give them a round of applause. Awesome. All right, I think we're done.